Groenewegen, a 1.79 ERA, 17-4 record. And as you said, 23 appearances, 20 of them she has started. And 189 strikeouts. Did that in 129 innings. What a ratio.
Yeah, that's serious stuff out of the starter.
Sabrina Rabin leading off for the Wildcats. She floats one down the third base line, and it's just foul. Rabin got jammed a bit, but that could have paid off.
Yeah, she found the little hole there over the third baseman's head, playing her to bunt perhaps down the third base line and almost floated it right over the third baseman Mackin's head. A little bit of side spin, however.
Mackin about 2/3 of the way up that third base line. And then Houlihan is in at first base as well. Rabin awaits the 0-1. Won't swing at this changeup. Was above the letters. And the count now 1-1.
And again, jumping on Groenewegen so important if you're going to have success against her. The more she can kind of settle in there out there at the circle, she could just get in a groove.
Rabin fouls that one off just under it. Now the count 1-2 for the sophomore. Rabin, an excellent player in her own right. 2015 Big Ten Freshman of the Year, an all Big Ten first team. Hitting .323 this season. Hits this one on the ground, right side, flipped over to first, and it just barely beats Rabin for out number 1.
And that's about the only place Sabrina Rabin can hit the ball on the ground and not be safe at first. If she hits that to the left side, any amount of depth in that left side of the infield, she's probably safe. One of the fastest players in the Big Ten, but that time just a short toss over there from the second baseman Parlick. And a good start for Groenewegen out there. Surprise, surprise.
That'll bring up Krista Williams, the left fielder for the Wildcats. She'll take the first pitch, high and inside for ball 1. Williams, a junior from California, has started every game this season in the outfield for Northwestern. Currently 9th in the Big Ten in stolen bases. She saws off the second into the net, even to the count at 1-1. A lot of speed at the top of that Wildcat order between Williams and Rabin.
Yeah, and if you can get on base early on in this game and try to manufacture a run, it could be an early way to get to Groenewegen, but Rabin obviously unable to do so. If Williams gets on, though, she could be stealing, trying to take second.
The 1-1. Kind of a check swing from Williams that time. Will be a strike and move the count to 1-2. The wind is blowing pretty strong out to right field, so if you can get one up into the jet stream, maybe it gusts out of here. And the sun has come out. It's bound to get warmer as the day moves on. Another grounder right side. It gets through the hole. Parlick could not reach it, and the Wildcats have their first base runner of the afternoon.
Krista Williams could not have placed that ball with her hand any better, just finding a perfect hole over there on the right side, the only hole really on the right side. And a man on base with just one out. Be interesting to see if Williams is stealing. Maybe not with your 3 and 4 hitters up now, but the Cats perhaps could manufacture a run here if Williams is able to get in the scoring position.
And the batter coming to the plate, and Andrea Filler is probably the toughest out in the Northwestern order, batting .361 this year. Here's the first pitch from Groenewegen. It's just inside for ball 1. Filler, a senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, has started every game this season at shortstop. And she started 2016 on an 11-game hitting streak. 63% of her hits this season have gone for extra bases. She swings at this one, a looper down the left field line. Gophers can't track it. 1-1 count. One man on at first base and one down here in the bottom of the first.
Pretty mind-blowing statistic to have 63% of your hits being extra base hits. Cats could certainly use one now. Got to believe that Williams would be headed home on a ball in the gap here.
All those extra base hits leads to a slugging percentage of .813 for Filler. It's 33rd in the nation. Groenewegen's last delivery, high and outside, 2-1 count. Stealing on the pitch is Williams. Throw down, and they got her. Williams perhaps didn't get the jump that she wanted. And LeMay guns her down at second base for out number 2.
And like we talked about, Northwestern potentially could try to manufacture a run here, steal second, have a man in scoring position with just 1 out. But the flip side of that coin is now you have 2 outs in the inning. Your rally pretty much done here in the first inning, and you have your 3 and 4 hitters now up. So definitely a risk reward, high risk out of Northwestern, and Coach Kate Drohan here in the bottom of the first. Fortunately, doesn't pay off for the Cats.
Bases have been emptied. 2-2 count for Filler. She saws one to the right side. Parlick able to extend her arm up and catch it for out number 3. The Wildcats go down in order in the first inning, and we remain scoreless through 1 at Sharon J. Drysdale Field. Welcome back to Welsh Ryan Arena. The halftime score here, 39-35. The Northwestern Wildcats currently on top of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Wildcats looking to move to 2-1 on Big Ten play. Jason Dorow here with Henry Bushnell. We appreciate you coming aboard for Thursday Night Hoops here on WNUR. Henry, I'm just going to ask you, since we're almost ready to tip off the second half, what are your thoughts on the first half and how Northwestern can improve in the final 20 minutes?
Looking at the defensive end for Northwestern, we talked about before the game, keeping Minnesota off the free throw line. Minnesota shot the ball well, 55%. Haven't made a single free throw. Only 4 attempts, 0 for 4 from the line. That's the difference in the game right now.
Gophers will work left to right as we start this second half. Wildcats right to left. Minnesota wearing road gold uniforms tonight as Northwestern sports the alternate gray uniforms. Something we haven't seen very often from these Wildcats, but they got them on tonight. Again, our halftime score, 39-35. Brian McIntosh with 14 first-half points. Vic Law not far behind with a dozen. McBrayer plays point to start this half. Now Coffey on the left side, dribbles middle. High pass out to the corner for McBrayer. He dribbles middle, left-handed floater. This one rolls around and out. Sanjay Lumpkin reels in the board.
Good defense by McIntosh there. Again, back on McBrayer. Vic Law guarding point guard Nate Mason.
First possession of the half for the Wildcats now. Pardon just bouncing it at the top. Slings it off right side for Lumpkin, who pushes it back to Pardon. 15 for the Wildcats to shoot, leading by 4. McIntosh wants a screen. He gets one from Sanjay Lumpkin, works right, passes out Pardon, 17-footer straight away, clangs in. Derek Pardon showing off some range we don't usually see.
And it was his right hand that he was hurt, so maybe he was working on that little jumper while he was injured.
41-35, Northwestern up by 6, almost a minute into the second half. Coffey picks up his right-handed dribble off to Murphy. Now he gets it right back and calls for a screen from Lynch. Coffey working with his offhand, the right hand. Now kicks it right side for McBrayer. His triple up, it won't go. Vic Law skies in for the board.
And Lindsay got caught on the screen there. McIntosh had to help down, left McBrayer wide open, but he missed the open shot.
Wildcats can expand their 6-point lead now. Three-pointer right side, Lumpkin too short. Far side rebound for Mason. Mason will push up to McBrayer. Left-handed dribble. He drives, goes up, and draws a foul. His layup was too hard off the backboard, but McBrayer has 2 free throws coming.
Northwestern wasn't quite able to get its defense set there. Still sort of a transition opportunity. McBrayer pushing, getting into the lane. Nobody was there to stop him until right at the rim.
The foul is on Sanjay Lumpkin, his second, the first on the team. Neither team got into the bonus in the first half. McBrayer, a sophomore guard from Queens, New York, puts up his first free throw off the back iron, no good. They've brought all the signs and faces that the students are holding up now to the east side of the stadium, and they're trying to distract McBrayer at the stripe. Here's number 2. He swishes it to make it a 5-point game.
Another thing to mention about that first half, Reggie Lynch really not a factor at all. Had 2 fouls, only played 9 minutes. Look for that in the second half, see if he can have a bigger impact on the game.
That was, by the way, the first free throw that Minnesota has hit today. 1 of 6 at the stripe. Long 3 from Lindsay on the left side. He misses short, but Lumpkin gets an offensive board.
Great activity there from Sanjay, coming all the way from the right wing to the left side of the rim to get the board.
Northwestern leads by 5. 2 minutes into the second half. Pardon dribbles right, hands off Law. 15 for the Wildcats to shoot. Now bounce pass to Lindsay in the paint. High left-handed scoop shot won't go. Rebound for Jordan Murphy.
Dupree McBrayer loses it in transition. They won't call it carry, though. He picks it back up and gives it off for Coffey. Now Murphy dribbling right to the baseline, up with the right hand, deflected by Pardon, put back from Lynch, no good. Lynch gets his own board, back up. He can't finish. Now he kicks it out for Mason. Mason dribbling right with the fresh shot clock, and now he pulls it out.
Lynch really rocked the rim there. Ball didn't go with his hands, though.
A big body at 6'10", 260 pounds. Here's Mason, step back jumper from 15 feet, off rim, backboard, no good. Law reels in the board.
That's a confident player right there, Nate Mason. Little off 1 foot, fading away. Didn't get to go. Hasn't been a big factor tonight.
A slow first half for Mason, who still only has 4 points on 2 of 5 shooting. Law with a fake pass with 14 to shoot, picks it up left side, now to right side for Scotty Lindsay. He bounces it in for Pardon. He backs down Lynch, left-handed hook shot, swish. Derek Pardon back in action after missing 8 games, and he puts Northwestern up by 7.
And that's big right there. Minnesota's not going to double him in the post with Lynch on him, something that Minnesota has had to do, for example, in their last game against Purdue. Pardon's got to take advantage of that one-on-one matchup in the post.
Coffey with a right wing three, too strong, rebound for Law. Law racking up the rebounds in the second half. He's got 4. Pardon, by the way, has 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 18 minutes of action. Wildcats up by 7, 16-20 left in our second half. Law flips it over to Lumpkin on the left side. 12 for Northwestern to shoot. Entry past Pardon. Backs down with the left again. Head fake. Kicks it out Law. 6 for Northwestern to shoot. Law left side, right-handed dribble off to Pardon. Baseline jumper. This one may be deflected by Lynch. It's an air ball.
Yeah, not a great possession there for Northwestern.
Gophers the other way. High off the glass goes Mason. He can't finish. The ball tapped out to McBrayer. Now left side Coffey. Underhanded pass for Lynch, who jumped. He was blocked and fouled. Lynch could not finish, but he did draw the foul. So the big man will go to the stripe. On the other side of this break, we pause in Evanston. Northwestern with the second half edge. They lead by 7, 43-36. 15:49 left to go on your home for Northwestern Wildcat Athletics, WNUR Sports.
No, that's not some kind of trick with the camera. That's Jared Skolnicki, a second-year Wisconsin Woodchuck who aspires to become a switch pitcher, a dream which started early in his baseball career.
When I was in Little League, I always wanted to play shortstop, and so being a left-handed pitcher or left-handed player, you can't really play shortstop once you get to the older levels. So I wanted to try to learn how to throw righty as a 12-year-old kid, but it was tough for me, and I kind of gave up for a few years.
It wasn't until September of his junior year of high school that Skolnicki really started throwing with his right arm.
I went down to a tournament in Cary, North Carolina as a high school ball player, and our tournament got canceled because of rain. And I was like sitting in my aunt's house, and I was wondering how I could figure out a way to make the trip kind of successful. And for some reason, it just came to me, and I started doing dry reps for like an hour in her house, and when I got back home, just kept practicing it.
Later in his junior year, Skolnicki was working again on the right-handed delivery, but this time it was due to injury.
There was a time my junior year, I tore my meniscus. And had surgery. I missed my entire baseball season that year. And so I would just be on my crutches. I'd get a chair and put it in my backyard and just throw buckets into the net for hours at a time just because I was so bored. Once I was able to get on my feet again, everything started clicking, and I was able to start throwing harder and harder.
In his sophomore season this spring, Skolnicki posted a 2.32 ERA and 4-2 record in over 54 innings at Kent State University. The Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native hasn't thrown right-handed in a game, but he's developing some pitches with his right hand while he hones his left-handed skills on the mound.
Now I do it during BP. After I'm done with my lefty work and stuff, I'll just throw around. If someone needs a throwing partner, I'll throw with them right-handed. I have a fastball, which has some good movement, arm side, and also a curveball that some people say is better than my lefty curveball. But I just got to work on the location on both of those, definitely. And I think it's definitely possible for me to be able to pitch right-handed at some point.
That dream is becoming more likely for Skolnicki, even though he gets some odd initial reactions from coaches.
They think I'm weird. I don't know. Some coaches are like pretty amazed when they see it. Then after a while, I think they start to realize I'm pretty serious about it, and I think once the amazement goes away, they're pretty cool about it. I'm pretty much lefty for everything except golfing. I golf right-handed, but I was a switch hitter. That's pretty much the extent of me being lefty versus righty.
Skolnicki throws 4 different pitches left-handed, a changeup, slider, curveball, and he has a fastball that has been clocked as fast as 90 miles per hour. And his right-handed velocity is gradually rising too.
Madison has a radar gun working all the time, no matter what, if the game or not. So during batting practice, when we were done, I took a few balls and I was just crow hopping from right behind the mound with a running start, right-handed, and I started out at 83 and worked it up to my last throw was 86 before we had to get off the field. Coach Bischel yelled, but 86 from the right side is definitely something that I could work with.
A third-team academic All-American last year and mathematics major, Skolnicki is just as good in the classroom as he is on the field, and he wants to apply his math skills to the game he loves to play.
The dream, regardless of whether the baseball works out or not, is still to work in baseball. Because I like math so much, I would love to be a statistician of some sort, maybe work in the front office of a Major League Baseball team. I know I'd still have a lot to learn. I know a lot goes into it, but I think I'm really fascinated by numbers, so I think baseball is a big numbers game, and you can really find like true value in certain players and whatnot.
That math mind and ambidextrous nature have given Skolnicki one other special skill.
Well, the Rubik's Cube thing, I've done that pretty much ever since 5th grade. I can solve Rubik's Cube blindfolded, which is pretty cool.
For now, though, Skolnicki has a much more difficult puzzle to solve, becoming the next professional switch pitcher, like former Woodchuck Pat Vendetti.
He's definitely the inspiration for all switch pitchers, for sure. I'm really rooting for him. I hope he does well because, I mean, knowing that he was a former Woodchuck is also pretty encouraging too. It gives me like a little bit of hope that maybe I can follow his footsteps or something.
Reporting for the Wisconsin Woodchucks, I'm Jason Dorow.
We'll now be joined by head coach Joe McEwen after a 88-66 victory here at Welsh Ryan against the Evansville Purple Aces. Parker hands off the headset to Joe. And Coach, after this ball game, you look at what Nia Coffey did: 30 points, 8 rebounds, hit almost every shot she took. What makes her such a well-rounded player?
It's all coaching. It's all coaching. No, she's so competitive. It's great to have her back, and one of the best players in the country, maybe one of the best players to ever play here, and just really proud of her. You know, she's just kind of she's gotten so much better too, and just her awareness and her patience now. She's letting things come to her at the right time too.
You got to look at your bench a little bit more today too. 15 points from Amber Jamison. Abby Wolf chips in 9 points as well. Is there anyone specifically that stood out in that second unit to you?
Well, Amber did a really good job when Evansville made runs at us. I thought she answered a couple of their threes. They made a lot of tough shots, and so we got to build off of that. We got to get people to step up every game. Different times, different places.
You're 5-1 now. Last question here for you. You get 2 wins on Thanksgiving weekend, one against Florida, one against Evansville. Is there anything you really learned about your team over the course of this weekend?
Well, I felt like we had a letdown today when we had chances to really put Evansville away. We didn't. We're going to have to address that. We played probably a great fourth quarter, as good a fourth quarter as we could play against Florida. And, we got to build off of it. Like I always say, anything between now and January 1st or whenever you start the Big Ten, you got to learn from.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Congrats on the win.
Thanks.